Yes.
Yeah.
We are on.
We are on. Oh man.
All right.
Y'all set up? Hopefully everyone can see our Vino lounge.
Great to see you again.
So, did you pregame with any wine?
Pardon?
Did you pour yourself anything?
Of course not. No, I was waiting for you.
I did not. I haven't tried the Chardonnay yet.
I have not either, so this will be fun. Well, I tried it once before, I have to say. But I haven't tried it today.
I did it the day after my birthday this year. And Rice visited us, and that was a lot of fun.
All right.
See how many people we got on here. It's always fun learning new things.
So how many do we have on right now? How are we doing?
7.
All right.
I think. So we'll wait a few more minutes. Thanks everyone for tuning in a few minutes early. We're going to wait a couple minutes before we get started here. Once again, it's Barry and Devin here to drink some fantastic wine. Devin and Barry, who? That was almost your name today. I was like this close.
All right.
I'll admit I was Beyonce during our meeting earlier.
What a lovely Beyonce you are.
Yes.
That was a great video.
Can everyone see and hear us okay? Hello. Okay. We're just checking out some things here. I'm getting that. Can everyone hear us okay? Think so?
I'm seeing some.
I don't know if it's me or you guys. I feel like there's something audio. Don't know what that would be.
Can you hear? I can start singing. Actually, people say, please don't, please don't.
Right.
Just a bottle of wine. How are we doing? Well, I've got time. We aerodynamic and ready to roll?
Almost.
So we've got the lovely view of sailboats out the window. Move it.
Yeah, I don't know if
Is it coming through or not? I'm not seeing it, but if you are, tell me.
They're having trouble with the audio. So I'm trying to figure out here. Problem with the audio. There we go. This is right.
Well, I had had people say I'm better off seeing, not heard.
That would not be helpful for us.
No, it would not.
All right, bear with us, everyone, for just a minute or so. We're just trying to figure out.
We are having some audio difficulties.
Some technical difficulties. Make sure that people can hear and see us. Find just a second to go. We can hear.
Yes, can't hear at all. I am getting the can't hear at all message.
As soon as it went live, I started having issues.
All right.
Okay. Bear with us a moment, guys.
Let us know when we can be heard.
Technology at its finest.
Put like a audio difficulty.
Let's see here. How's that? Is this better?
Can we be heard?
Yeah.
What is it, 30-second delay?
Let's see.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And counting.
Test. Test, test. It's like a reverb, they said.
A reverb. Wow.
Nope, okay.
Can we be heard?
All right, sorry guys, we're just trying to fix the audio here. Not really sure what happened once we went live. Just trying to troubleshoot it here.
All right.
Is yours connected? I don't know if your iPad's close to it or maybe it's like interfering with it. You just scoot it away from the laptop for a second, just in case.
Just go ahead and talk through, please. I'm talking. Can you hear me?
Jess, we're trying to figure it out here.
Is my sound on?
Our sound is on, yes. Cam mic. Let me just do a mic test here and see if. So their mic's good. Sounds good.
Make sure no one has it open on phone or other device. I did not.
Okay. Let's see if this works. How about now? It's not time for the hats yet because we can't even get the audio to work, but there will be hats eventually, guys.
Great, go. Can you hear
Jess,
us?
does that look better?
Can we be heard?
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm getting the go, go, go. That's better.
Good.
Is that
good.
better? Okay. Sorry. Thanks for bearing with us. Please let us know if anything else occurs.
Thanks for your patience. We're going to blame it on the our guests that we have coming in tonight, which we are so happy to have. I want to
It's not their fault.
welcome everyone. Just some technical difficulties of going across the pond. But hello, everyone. Welcome to the Virtual Vino with DMV. We are once again live at the Tecumseh in the Maritime Republic of Eastport. That's also known as Annapolis, Maryland, for non-Eastport residents. We're really extra excited today because we have not one, not two, not three, but we have 4 guests joining us today, along with my sidekick, Devin, partner in crime.
Exactly, and apparently IT tech. So once again, thank you guys for sticking with us. Hopefully once we bring our guests on, maybe it'll sync the audio with the video better. Obviously, with so many people home, and I'm sure using the same platforms and whatnot, we're going to blame it on that. But we hope that all of you enjoyed today's program. We are very excited about our guests and our featured wines this week. We do have 6 more amazing wines to cover with you. As always, please like and share this video, comment, give us questions. Obviously, we've seen your comments with the video and audio difficulties, and we want to make sure that you guys can enjoy this along with us. So thank you. Make sure you share with your friends. And if you have a bottle of wine,
make sure
please
it's open
open them now.
and you're drinking along with us.
Exactly. Especially if you did find any of the 6 wines that we have available this week. I know of 2 stores in Maryland, especially this week, that had 6-case specials. Liquor Locker in Hagerstown, Maryland, and the other one
Town
is
Center Market.
Town Center. Yeah, so
that's
thank
in
you
Riverdale,
for
Maryland.
Exactly. Once again, after the live video, we will have a poll so that you can vote for your favorite wine of the week. I believe the winner last week was the Casamigos Lima Portugal Red Blend.
Absolutely.
So congrats, Casamigos Lima, on that win. It is a fantastic wine. For those of you, obviously, that did get all 6 wines, drink along with us. Like I said, if you do have another wine, by all means, just drink wines with us.
The important thing is to drink with us.
Exactly. That's all. It's a Friday,
have fun.
So let's have fun. Yeah.
So for the last 7 years, I've been spending about every Friday and Saturday out with friends, pouring wine, drinking wine at wonderful wine stores and restaurants throughout the state of Maryland and DC. And it's been so much fun, but just talking wine, pouring wine, drinking wine, tasting wine. And it really doesn't matter whether you're a novice or whether you are an expert or a sommelier. There's simply a shared passion that we all have, that the joy of tasting wine together can open up. Maybe it's that new grape that you've never tried, or it's exploring a familiar grape from an altogether new region. We're going to have all of that today. But it's most importantly, it's a discovery of something new and pleasurable that provides us the opportunity to experience it together. And I think that's what being a wine enthusiast is all about. DMV was started in 2016, and we really focus on wines that have a high QPR. So everything you're going to be trying today is really ideal wines to buy by the case, because they're inexpensive, but they're really have that high quality that you're happy to enjoy yourself and to really serve with anyone. I always say that our goal is to find that $100 bottle of wine, and we want it for $10. And so I hope you all share our enthusiasm for wine and are going to try these. And these are all found in the Maryland, D.C. area. And if you can't find them, let your favorite stores know, let us know, and we'll be there to help you out. Unique times bring us to seek new ways to get together. So tonight, we're going to stay within the safe social distancing guidelines and have some great wine together and definitely learn something, have some fun. And I think you're really going to enjoy the guests that we're bringing you tonight.
And if you've joined us before, you'll remember me perhaps. I'm Devin Zeger. I'm a wine specialist with DMV. This evening's show is especially special to me with guests that are deal great with the wines, whether they're their sales directors or winemakers. I worked for a local Maryland winery for years, so it's something definitely special to be a part of and live and work with the people who are putting their hearts into these fantastic wines. So without further ado, Barry's going to put on his white hat, and we're going to get started.
My tasting hat.
White wine.
It helps me concentrate on the wines.
Maybe we needed that for our tech issue.
That's right.
It was really the lack of hat.
And I'm really thrilled to welcome our first guest of the evening, Bryce Gillespie from Marquis Selections. And we have Jérémie Castor, the owner and winemaker for Chateau Saint Nabor, to help us learn about this wonderful Chardonnay. Guys?
So excited.
Hey, Devin and Barry.
Hello.
You know what?
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hopefully it's well. So we're going to let Bryce go first and introduce himself, and then I believe Jérémie's going to talk about the wine.
Yeah, so it's great to be here, and as I said, we're thrilled to have our wines repped by DMV in Maryland and DC. My name is Bryce Gillespie, and I handle national sales and marketing for Marquis Selections. Marquis is a boutique wine importer based in the Midwest, bringing fantastic family-owned and sustainable wines from around the world to the US. Marquis has been importing Chateau Saint Nabor for about 7 years now, and I'm really chuffed that Jérémie, the owner and winemaker of Chateau Saint Nabor, has stayed up past his bedtime tonight to be here and present the Chardonnay, and I'm looking forward to hear what he has to say. Hey, Jérémie.
Hey Bryce, hey everyone. It's a huge pleasure to be here tonight and today with you. So I'm Jérémie Castor from Chateau Saint Nabor. This is our family winery. My brother and I are the sixth generation in the family making wine. So Raphaël and I are continuing the family legacy. I've not been in Maryland yet. I'm really looking forward to coming and visiting you in the rail. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we are very excited to try this Chardonnay, Jeremy. Is there anything that you can tell us about this wine that makes it special to you, about its flavors as you're drinking it right now?
So, just before I start with the wine, just a quick note about the winery. We are located in the southern Rhone Valley, about 40 minutes away from Châteauneuf-du-Pape. We are independent producers, which means we grow our own grapes and make the wine exclusively with our own grapes. So this Chardonnay, it's actually a blend of two different blocks. We have one block located on top of the hill where you have very dry soil, very poor, and one block by the river, more rich and flavorful. Both of them are fermented separately, and which allows them to develop their own identity, own characteristics. And then afterwards, they are blended, which creates a powerful richness, something that develops through the whole taste. It's fruity flavors and continue with more minerals, stronger tannins. So let me pour a glass, and we can taste together. So this is quite unusual to have a Chardonnay from the Rhone Valley. However, it goes very well. This vineyard is about 40 years old. And you can definitely have the classic Chardonnay style, a lot of white fruits and peaches, some apricot, and with notes of exotic fruits. We stay to stop in the meantime. So, like I said, very fresh, very fruity. The mouth is nice and crisp. Particularity of the Chardonnay is that it is not aged in barrels. So it's only stainless steel and concrete. That way we keep all the fine flavors and the freshness of the body. Our philosophy with that wine is to create easy to pair, easy to go, easy to enjoy white wine, something that's going to be very versatile, but with a nice rich. And to continue with the fermenting techniques, we are very traditional in our way. Grapes are harvested, crushed, destemmed, and about 20% of the grapes go through a cold maceration to extract a little bit of tannins. And when everything is pressed, we do a cold fermentation. So that would be about 54 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit in order to keep the very light aromas. And then it's bottled early to keep the freshness. So all these aromas are extended with a nice body, with a long length on the palate, a freshness that lasts, and that leaves all of these very nice aromas on a long time. So I believe I've said everything. Don't hesitate to jump in if you have any question.
Yeah,
So
Jeremy. No.
Sorry there, Barry. I was saying this is a great, I think the Chardonnay is a great comparison to what you guys were talking about last week with the whole difference between those buttery, heavily oaky ones and the more fresh, lighter styles. This is a really great example of a wine like that. And I think to your QPR note, your quality price ratio, I think it's bang on the money.
Yes, definitely. For us, it's extremely important to give the best wine at the best price. We believe wine is made to be shared and to be enjoyed together. So, like you said, Barry, earlier, that's that $100 bottle at $10. So, yeah.
No, and I'll definitely agree. It's one of the more well-balanced Chardonnays that I've tried as well. I definitely applaud you. Now, is this, it's made in oak or steel? I know that's always a usual question that we do get.
So it's 100% stainless steel and concrete. No oak, to preserve the flavors of the land and of the fruit. Really want to stay terroir focused on that way. Yes, we actually believe that the wine is self-sufficient. We don't need to add anything. So yeah.
MLF or malactic fermentation are you using?
We don't do any malo on the white.
Okay.
We, like I said, we want this crispiness. So none of our white wine or rosé wine go through malolactic fermentation. That allows to keep a fresh, crispy body, which gives a nice aging potential for our white and rosé.
What about the binding agents that you're using in the fining process?
So we use peas, like these little beans proteins to clear the must. And then when we filter with a cross-flow filter. So we have barely no product going in the wine, and most of the product that we use are vegetal, natural based.
So Jérémie, does that make the wine vegan friendly?
Yes, it is. We do not have the certification, the stamp, but in the practice, it's 100% vegan friendly. No animals being used, no animal product, byproduct, or anything. Yeah.
Great.
That's awesome. Well, now do any of our viewers have any questions for Jérémie or Bryce? Are you out there drinking the wine with us? I know a few of you are. I've seen a few great comments there pop up.
Jérémie, while we wait for the comments to come, the questions to come, why don't you tell them a little bit about where the tasting room is located at the winery?
So, like I said, we are a family winery that is now here for 6th generation. However, our estate is located on a much older part. The building that you can see on the background is our family home, which holds also the cellar. And in this part, the tasting room is built on the ruins of an old church from the 11th century. So if you go on our website, you will see this little cave, vaulted stones. And this is where you have the tasting experience with stones that come from the 11th century. There is a bit of a story behind there. Nabor, which is, as you can see behind me. So this is a story that has been passed from father to son, and I heard from my father, and he heard from his grandfather, etc. Saint Nabor, and now this is a legend, was a Templar. And when he came back from the Crusades, the legend says that he had a caravan of camels, and the one camel leading the group was carrying on his back the Christ cross and other relics. And Saint Nabor said, where the camel will stop or die, we are going to build a church. He was coming back from the Northern Africa and the Middle East, so he arrived, the Rhone and the Rhone Valley used to be the highway during the Roman Empire and etc. So he arrived where we were, and we found some sarcophagus and other old stones on the estate. And funny thing, our estate is located on that little hamlet that's called Saint Nabor, but there is a town that is Saint Nabor more north, close to Alsace, which has in the streets of the very old houses, camels sculpted on the door, on the entrance of the doors of the buildings. So it's very interesting to have this shared story because the movement continued upstream. So a lot of history where we were. So yeah.
Well, once everything's over and we're able to travel, I think I know a lot of us, as well as a lot of people viewing today, are going to want to come visit.
I'm in. One question, Jeremy, at least. So I would pair this Chardonnay with next to nothing because it's fantastic. But if you were going to pair this Chardonnay, what would you pair it with?
That's a big question. I want to say anything that you like. Basically, I said this wine is very versatile, easy to pair with most food. However, we recommend it with like a fish with a white sauce or poultry, something not too extravagant in the aromas, because you're looking into a balance. We said we have fresh and fruity notes. We don't want something too explosive that's going to mask the wine. So you want to look for that balance, that the wine will rise the food and vice versa. You're welcome to try anything. You will never be wrong if you like it. So yeah, that's what I give as advice to my customers. If you want it with a steak, is a beef steak or a big, just go ahead. Big T-bone, go ahead. I mean, you're right. If you like it, you're right.
It makes a great pairing, right? If you love the wine and you love the food.
Yes, and I want to add also great friends. Add it with great friends. I mean, that's what makes it special. When you share a good moment.
There you go.
You can tell we did cheers to that. We're 6 feet away, though. It's a large table.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Jeremy and Bryce, for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Does anyone else out there have questions for either Bryce or Jeremy before we let them go and let Jeremy go to sleep this evening?
I'm going to watch you more longer. I'm going to watch the other wines. So.
Yeah, I would love that. Please do. And feel free. Obviously, our guests are, maybe going to stick around and ask questions throughout the video. So that's always exciting. You can test your buddies out in California in just a few minutes.
Our friends in
California. A lot of cheers. Someone was pairing this with shrimp.
I love that.
You mean really hungry, guys. Like so hungry. Someone send shrimp to Annapolis.
So how would you compare this style to a stainless style from California?
California loves to do the malo, so I want to say it has more crispiness and less fattening, but maybe more towards the finesse as well, especially because we are on top of a hill with rocks and we have very low yields. We do not irrigate our vines. We cannot, and we don't have the installation. So yes, definitely more finesse, more lightness in the wine. But again, it's a question of taste, and I love some great California Chardonnays, and it's all different. Some people will prefer the one or the other. I love to discover any style of wine. I discovered a few years ago a Concord wine, which was extremely different for me. So, it's all tastes are in the nature, and just different style.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Jérémie. If there's anything else that either you or Bryce would like to add, please do. But once again, from the bottom of our hearts here at DMV Distributing, thank you so much. And we hope to have you back in the future.
We really
to talk
appreciate
about
it.
more of your amazing wines. It's
Next time I will fly in. I promise.
I would love that.
I will.
We can definitely get some shrimp and Chardonnay, and
I'll bring the wine.
Exactly. I, for one, would definitely love that. So please do. Well, it's been a pleasure. We're going to let Jérémie and Bryce go now.
Great job, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers. That was fun. After a little hiccup there at the beginning.
Yeah, that was great fun.
Thanks, guys, for continuing with us. And that was so amazing for both Bryce and Jérémie to join us. We're very excited to be able to work hand in hand.
It's a learning process. Like anything this from across the pond. I mean,
exactly, but we're learning. So we're going to skip ahead to our second wine of the evening, the Seaside Cellars Vinho Verde Rosé. So we've had the Seaside Cellars Vinho Verde before, but not the Rosé. I believe that was week 2.
That
was actually week 1.
Yeah.
If you remember, nice fresh white wine, a little effervescent.
Yeah, Seaside Vinho Verde. So we did the white. This time we are doing the rosé. Seaside Cellars, if you remember, or if you're tuning in new, all the more reason I should say this again, is Seaside Cellars has 3 coastal properties. They have vineyards in France and Portugal and in New Zealand. And the Vinho Verde is from Portugal. And Seaside Cellars near and dear to my heart because they give a portion of their proceeds to a charity called Race for Water, which is dedicated to cleaning up the waterways of the world. And we are here in the Maritime Republic of Eastport, so water is a big deal. So this is a rosé. Vinho Verde is not the name of the grape, but it's actually the name of the region. The Vinho Verde would literally mean green wine, but as you can see, this is a rosé. This is the consummate aperitif when done in the most well-known style, which this is, with a slight effervescence like you're seeing here.
We're solving audio issues.
So are we able to mute the guests? Because that's what she thought the two was.
No. We're good. Are we a little better now? Yeah, I think maybe the iPad or something.
Okay.
Can you guys hear us a little better now? We didn't move, we swear.
Yeah, we're still here. Can you hear us?
Perhaps.
Okay, so Vinho Verde literally means green wine. And as you can see, the color is not green, but rosé. Beautiful color of rosé, in fact. So the green really refers to young wine, and it's to be consumed well, it's actually bottled 3 to 6 months after harvest. So the idea is for it's ready for immediate consumption, and consume we will. The New York Times, defined it as being a fun wine. This is just a great wine to welcome friends to your home. It pairs wonderfully with any appetizer. It's a little lower in alcohol, around 11%. So it's great when you're planning to move on to heavier wines or cocktails. And it's also the ideal wine for drinking outside or on the boat or on the deck. How are we doing? Is the audio okay? Give me some. Okay.
100% on my end, so I'm. How about that? Is that better?
Can you hear us? We so apologize.
I feel like it's flipping around with guests. I think we got a thumbs up. Okay, so sorry about that.
Yeah, all right.
You got a bit of that.
So again,
the
nice. Seaside Vino Verde is a great wine to welcome guests to your home. Pairs well with any appetizers. Lower in alcohol. It has a slight effervescence.
Yes.
It's the ideal wine for drinking outside in the summer. And if you didn't hear me before, I talked about the New York Times defining it as, instead of green wine, as being fun wine. Pair with your spicy foods and salads, tomato-based dishes, whatever. I love it by itself.
I know.
Anything, really.
This is definitely a great porch pounders. We have to say once during every video. I beat you to it, though.
And this was also featured in the Washington Post in the food and wine section. And you want to introduce our next guests?
Yes. I'm going to wait just a second. I want to make sure everyone can hear us.
Anybody with comments about the Vino Verde, please chime in. We'll either get to them now or towards the end. Please let us know where you are, any of your favorite liquor stores in the area, or restaurants or wine stores.
Tony said, loving the baby bubbles.
Baby bubbles.
I would agree, yeah. Instead of the, champagne style heavy carbonation, that would be perfect.
Yeah, it's very light.
Now, Jessica asked, what's the alcohol content of the Vino Verde Rosé?
I said 11%. Is that about right?
11%. Exactly.
So Vino Verde, again, is not the grapes itself. It's actually the region in Portugal. It's the northeastern actually, region of the Douro Valley, and stretches from coast to coast. And there's a series of different wines. So the fact that it's a rosé, of course, is that it's got one of the red grapes that they're lightly touching the skins to create that beautiful color. But it is a blend of different grapes.
Yeah, an excellent, very refreshing wine. This is a good wine to share with your friends. So if you see the Seaside Cellars out in stores, obviously the great lighthouse label there, definitely pick one up. Lift it over the banner there. All right, so up next, we have two more guests for you this evening. Very excited to have Paris Valley Road on board with us here at DMV. I, for one, love their wine. So if you can't find it in your store, maybe they do carry it and I just bought it all. I'm gonna call myself out, especially the rosé guys. But we do have Doug. He is the assistant winemaker at Paris Valley. And we have Chris, he is the sales director. So welcome, gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining us all the way out in California.
Welcome, guys. Thank you.
I know you're going to be mentioning your tasting room, but remember, once it opens, we want to visit.
Got it. Thankful to be here. Thanks for having us. It's a blast to join you all the way from California today.
There we go. We're live now.
Perfect. Yeah.
Thank you for having us. And yeah, I guess it's going to be a tough act to follow. There was almost a reigniting of the French-California rivalry there for a second towards the end of our guests accompanying us.
Yeah, we swear that wasn't planned, but it worked out well for us. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves, tell those watching a little bit more about yourselves, and then definitely about the wine. And Carrie and I are going to be gleefully enjoying it as you tell everyone about it.
Doug, start us off.
I guess I will. So yeah, my name is Doug Heidinger. I'm a local native to San Diego, but now call Paso Robles my home. I've actually been living here longer than I have been in San Diego, so I get to officially call myself a local. Very excited to be joining with you guys today to share this wonderful wine. It's got a great story. I don't know if it's going to have quite the history of our other guests, but that's okay. We do our best out here in California. Very proud of this wine. Something that's kind of a unique story behind it is one of our first lows that we brought in through our new facility here on the east side of Paso Robles, which Chris is going to talk to you a little bit about. But we're very excited. It was a little bit of a tense moment. It was one of the first lows that we were bringing through the door to process through our facility. And we had everybody there, the owners, the pictures were out, and the fruit truck was a few hours late to make the delivery. But we pressed on. The team was great. We kept ourselves busy, and the product that you guys have in front of you is the culmination of all of our hard work.
Yeah, no, and I'll jump in next. And so I get the opportunity to be the director of sales for Paris Valley Road, and just get to have the opportunity to be a part of every bottle that leaves the winery. It's kind of the overall summary of that. And yeah, we're kind of at this great, exciting, kind of pivotal time for the winery on our side. Paris Valley Road as a brand has existed out in distribution for a little while. Very thankful for our partnership with DMV on that distribution, and actually had the chance last May to have some of the team out here to visit Paso, and Erica, and we had Alicia and Scotty come out and see the facility and walk around and get a chance to share Paso Robles with you. But yeah, we're for the very first time, the brand, like I said, has been in distribution. We've had the opportunity to share it with people on wine lists and grocery store sales, but there's never been a place to come visit. And right now, we're under the process right now of revamping a historic property in Paso Robles. We are part of this. The original winery that opened, where we're going to now operate, opened in 1985 as one of the first properties here in Paso. And it was the historic kind of Arciero Winery was the name of it at the time. And it needed some love. We got the opportunity to take it on over the last couple of years. And we're actually looking to open the tasting room for the first time for Paris Valley Road in October of this coming year. So we're excited for October 2020. We're trying to check everything off the list, and we can't wait to have a place for people to actually come and be and enjoy the wine right here in Paso.
And I love that, guys. This is actually one of my favorite rosés to sell, so very unbiased. However, when I take it out and to do tastings, then I'll participate in that tasting in stores and restaurants to move it in there. It's a fantastic rosé. I think it's very shareable. It appeals to everyone. It has a very fruity, strawberry, very nice light taste. It's very well balanced, very refreshing. Whether you like sweet wines or dry wines, you can definitely enjoy this wine. I also get a little bit of a plum aroma or taste in here.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous wine. I always have fun, comparing wines from different regions. And this blend being Syrah, Grenache, and Mourvedre, or we do wines from Spain, where we call it Monastrell. Give me some thoughts. Yeah, she loves Monastrell, so that's probably why she loves us so much. But give me some thoughts about how this blend would compare to a blend from Spain. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think, Chris, I'll go ahead and take that question if you don't mind. But I think what makes our wines not only unique, but in other ways also similar, is we source our fruit from a very cool climate region just north of us here, and it really lends itself a little bit more on the crisp and minerality side of the spectrum, which allows it to stay bright and light on the palate. Even though it is a Syrah-based rosé, it's not going to kind of have those leathery, big, smoky tobacco flavors. We harvest it early to preserve the natural acidity of the wine, and only kind of give it as much time on the skins as it absolutely needs. And similar to our other guest Chardonnay, we do 0 malolactic fermentation to keep it bright, nice, and light on the palate. It's not going to have those kind of buttery layered textures. It's going to stay clean and crisp and just kind of go over well, pair very nicely with the natural. I get a lot of grapefruit, a little bit of some fresh watermelon, and it's going to keep it perfect for the summertime, perfectly enjoyable. Being that we're in California, I'd recommend, pairing it with some nice grilled fish tacos with a fresh cabbage slaw, sitting on your front porch, enjoying the sunshine.
That's great. I didn't mean to throw you a curveball, but since I did, I'll throw you one other one. I spoke about Craig earlier when we did one of the PBR wines from last week. And being a third generation vine grower.
Yes.
For those, I didn't go in really elaborate on that. Tell me what that means to you for your vineyards with this wine, and also those guys in France. I mean, they could be using some of his vines as well, right?
Absolutely. I think everybody who's into wine has heard the statement that great wine starts in the vineyard, and when you have the support of a company like Sunridge Nurseries, that, like you said, third generation grape grower and vine producer here in California, I mean, you couldn't think of it to have a better backer coming out of your vineyard support. Want to throw a big shout out to also our vineyard manager, Joaquin. He does a great job taking care of all of our properties here and really making sure that we're working with just the utmost well-manicured, best possible products that we can produce. And to have Sunridge Nurseries provide us with as many different types of varietals. We have what we call the petting zoo, which is all kinds of like a test and a lot of different trials for some upcoming new varietals that we're possibly going to be working with here at Paris Valley Road. So it's always fun and exciting to know it's what's next. It's something we strive to do, is to be different than everybody else. So with Sunridge Nurseries and the backing of that, we basically have the world at our fingertips when it comes to what we can choose to plant in our vineyards and what we think is going to be, the next big thing.
Yeah, and I'll tag team onto that a little bit with Doug, and that really is a great, start of the story, for this brand and for this wine. Like I said, Craig's family got started in the wine, or in the grapevine propagation business, in the 70s, and has really created this solid foundation for this brand and for this wine. And so Craig grew up watching his dad propagate grapevines, his whole life, and then really got into the wine business as a labor of love, as the next step for him. And so when he got in 2004, it just began with what he saw so often, these vines growing, and he wanted to see them through to a bottle. And when the Stollers planted their first vineyard, they planted this first vineyard, and it was along a road named Paris Valley Road. And so that's where the name of the brand comes from. That's where it comes from, the very first vineyard they planted. It comes from the very first start when they got going on the wine side of things. And so with Sunridge, and they're really passionate about farming. They're really passionate about growing wine. They have been for generations. And so it really does start in the vineyard, and it gives us a great foundation for creating excellent wines that we hope people will enjoy.
The chalk knoll.
Yeah, that was the when the Stollers first planted the vineyard. It was mid to late 90s, and they planted Chalk Knoll Vineyard. And it was originally planted really for the Mondavis. They were going to sell fruit to the Mondavis. They were looking for some other additional fruit to take on. And so, but over time, that's changed. But that was it. It was planted along a little quiet road, kind of out in the middle of nowhere on Paris Valley Road.
Fantastic.
Yeah, truly an excellent rosé. Like I mentioned from Harry's earlier, I would also add my belly to that for sure. So if you ever need testers for the petting zoo,
yeah, we're in for that.
Email me and Barry. We just like high-fived slyly during that.
It's really perfect for the porch for any summer day or any day.
I think this is one that I would take to a friend's house to show off my great rosé, and I definitely will this summer. That is for sure. Like you mentioned earlier, everyone that's watching, these wines are available all around Maryland and DC. If your store doesn't have them, tell them to contact DMV. We want to support our great wineries, even all the way out in California and France. But Paris Valley Road, definitely an amazing winery. And Paso Robles, which we are definitely going to visit eventually. We'll come taste test.
Please do.
You should, definitely.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks so much for joining us. Now we see there's a question there from Natalie. She asked, how old are these vines that you guys have? Great question.
Doug, you want that one?
I mean, Chris, I think you touched on a little bit. The original Chalk Mill Vineyard was planted in the 90s. And, you know, with the addition of that came our RBZ vineyard as well as our Drake vineyard. So it's kind of a tricky question because the vines themselves, being that we do work from the nursery, they're paired with their own unique rootstock to how they handle the different terroir. And then as time progresses, we can choose to graft over and plant over some different varietals, but maintain, you know, the connection to the ground and, you know, match the terroir the best that we can as far as for water consumption, dealing with the different types of virus or, you know, anything that needs to keep the vines growing in that way. But this Syrah is sourced from our original Chalk Mill vineyard. It's a Syrah block that comes out of the Paris Valley Road winery.
Yeah, and then the newest addition that we get to do to our vineyard lineup is with the new property that we're doing, that we get the tasting room we're opening in October, is we also got to plant some vines right here on the property as well. So Doug's gotten the opportunity to really oversee a brand new vineyard, and many of the wines that you're going to get a chance to come and taste in the tasting room when we open up, we'll, you know, here in a couple of years, because we just planted it, but we're going to be able to, you know, have some fruit from right here on site and really produce some vines that we've controlled, not only from when they were planted, but in the nursery, do the nursery collection, take them all the way through to a bottle. So we're really excited for some upcoming vintages with Paris Valley Road and the vineyard that we've got to plant right here on site.
So, a quick question during these crazy times we're in. I've got some friends that are watching this that live in California. Are you all, would you be open normally? I mean, I realize you're just getting everything together at the winery right now for that. Are we open? Is it essential like it is to me right here?
We are deemed an essential business, which is fantastic, but unfortunately the tasting rooms are not deemed essential. So, you know, March, we did have to shut the doors of the tasting room. We've come up with a lot of fun, creative ways to share wines in the meantime. Obviously, like many wineries, we've had the great opportunity to jump to virtual tastings and things like that with some of our other brands that we manage as a winery. But yes, right now, if our tasting room is open right here at Paris Valley Road, unfortunately, doors wouldn't be open right now. We'd have to wait here until some things change. We'd be able to bring some folks in and visit with us. So in that way, we're kind of glad we're not quite open yet, and that we're a little bit of a to be determined on opening date. So yeah, right in the meantime, it's been fun. I mean, you go down right now, and we're just starting to work on the outside. The inside's getting some paint, some doors hung. It's going to be a beautiful. We really are, you know, kind of a throwback to the last guest as well. A little French California kind of tension on the whole property that you'll see, kind of feeling a little old world and new world at the same time. It's going to be great.
Well, I, for one, can't wait to visit. I'm sure everyone watching definitely. The pictures I've seen so far are amazing. I mentioned the other day when I spoke to you guys, all of your wine that, you know, we sell here in Maryland is fantastic. We've had quite a few comments. The price points here are outstanding for this quality of wine, which is what our company wants to bring to the table here in Maryland and DC. So thank you for producing amazing wine that we can also resell and share. That's a great price. Yeah, you want everyone to be able to enjoy fantastic wine. So this is definitely a brand and wine that I love to support.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much.
High QPR niche.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right,
I'd just say that, yeah, this is definitely, every bottle of wine Doug makes is $100 bottle, but we do believe it's a good price point for the wine that hopefully that everybody gets to enjoy.
Please don't start charging $100 for this, Doug, because I will be.
We're just trying to maximize our QPR. You know, it's all about the stats.
Exactly.
There you go. That's why we love you.
Like we said earlier, guys, if you live throughout Maryland, we're DC, please go out and support Paris Valley Road. They have an excellent lineup of wines. We featured their Chardonnay last week. That was fantastic. We have the Rosé, and I'm sure that we'll feature more from Paris Valley Road. And if we have either or both back eventually in the future.
Yeah, we look forward to hosting you in the Maryland area when times permit.
Definitely come visit.
Definitely.
We will. Thank you, guys.
Guys, I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thank you so much. Yes. All right, so we are going to check before we go further.
How's it sound?
Can you hear us before we start going? You guys can't hear us? We think it flip-flops.
Can you hear me?
That's so fun to talk to. It makes me really want to visit California.
Yeah, let us know how you feel about us bringing on winemakers and representatives of the brand. I mean, this is something that we are kind of playing with as we go. And we want to kind of make it fun for you, make it a learning experience. And of course, it's great fun for us. So, and I do apologize for the sound problems that we had. And I think that does come with having the guests and dealing with the whether their sound is on or not. How are we right now?
How's it now? It keeps switching back. How about now?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I'm gonna wait. I think I fixed it. I figured out how to fix it, but it swaps every time the guests go in and out.
Well, in the meantime,
We'll figure out how to
troubleshoot
that in the future. Is it okay now?
Can you hear us? Do I hear anything? Do I see anything?
No, we're getting
No?
thumbs down.
No.
One moment. No, we're not on mute. You wouldn't think, but let's see here.
Our guests.
I went to college for political science. I'm so sorry.
You know, had I known, I'd have brought in my IT person.
Okay,
She's got red hair.
how's that? Okay, we're getting 2 thumbs up.
All right.
I'll drink to that, Jess. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Great.
So that was really great to hear from Paris Valley Road. Doug and Chris, fantastic guys. They make amazing wines.
And I hope you enjoyed,
Yeah,
you know, our guests. I know I did, and I always learn a lot when we bring in new people.
exactly.
Um,
You have to deal with me every week, but it's
but you're always new to me, you know, during these times.
you're the only person I see every week.
But we're 6 feet away.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. All right. So next we're going to go to a blue bottle.
Woo.
And it's St. Michael Riesling. And no, it's not from Maryland. No, this is a
Fantastic wine
Riesling.
festival they host though.
They do. They do a great wine festival, but this is not from there. This is actually from Germany. And this is St. Michael. Will you speak the German for me? I am so bad at German. Can we say Weinkellerin?
Yes, it's the St. Michael Weinkellerin.
Yeah, it means winery in German.
I did not know that.
And-
so my whole outline this week was that plus wine.
But I love that you did it. That was a wonderful exercise.
I have a German heritage, so it's pretty bad that I didn't know that.
And it's from Rheinhessen.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
I tried to use a Yiddish accent, but the Riesling grape originated in the Rhine River region, which runs throughout parts of Germany, France, Austria, and Switzerland. But you know, really, when people think of Riesling, we think of sweet wines, at least in this country. And that's, you know, unfortunate because a Riesling is a wonderful grape that can run anywhere from extremely dry to extremely sweet. And it just runs that spectrum. And in Germany, of course, there's classifications for everything involving the wine from dryness level. It's Trocken. Am I saying that right?
I'm going to say yes.
You got the German heritage. I don't
try and say that.
with dry all the way to the beer. It sounds like beer and something. Oslis But basically, I think of ice wine, which means very sweet, to qualify. But they have like ways that they talk about the quality and the region and on and on and on, because it's Germany, and they classify everything with colors and numbers and on and on and on.
And I think the best thing about the Riesling grape is the fact that it can be very sweet, and then it can be very dry.
That's right.
That's why they do have all of these classifications. So if you ever look up the grape, it is fantastic.
And I'm going to save all that stuff for a class.
Yeah,
So
we'll
I will
definitely
subject you
do like
to it now.
a Riesling class. Now, definitely, so I see Tanya down there. She's trying out the Riesling, perhaps. So obviously, I would classify this, the St. Michael Riesling, as a semi-dry Riesling. It's not a really sweet, it's not a really dry. So this is a perfect.
We call that well-balanced, don't we?
Perhaps. I think I more so do the well-balanced with
It's
food.
sweet and crisp.
Yeah. You get more of the sweet at the very end of the taste, which is always a good thing. I think there's notes of pear and grapefruit within this Riesling. So for you out there trying this with us, obviously let us know what you're tasting as well.
In our pre-show grape debate, we always like are talking about order. How are we going to show these wines? And a lot of times we'll show the sweet wine towards the end, but we felt that this was mid-range in profile enough that we wanted to show this after the rosés. And I think that was the right call.
I think we chose well. Before we get in our reds, I think that this is a very nice appetizer drinking wine, similar to light rosés that we, sometimes feature. It's a wine that seems a little bubbly to me as well. I don't think I've ever seen any like effervescence associated with this wine, but it's definitely a little bubbly. It's kind of like the Vino Verde.
That's interesting. I don't taste that, but I
get that.
I appreciate you.
I'm getting that.
And I had a question that was sent in to me before I ever got to this, and that was regarding the beautiful blue bottle that it's in.
So this is a thing I think that's become popular when you're going around your favorite liquor stores. Most Rieslings nowadays are featured in this royal blue bottle.
And you know where that came from?
I do know where that came from. So
before you were born.
Before I was born.
There was a winery called Blue Nun that my mama used to buy for her bridge club.
Exactly. And they started the blue bottle.
They did.
Now, did they start the blue bottle because of the blue color of the Rhine River, which is what I was told?
Well, I think that's a good myth. I don't know if it's real or not. We have to.
I've been told that by winemakers, that they bottle it in the blue bottle. Now, most German Rieslings are featured in the green or brown bottles.
That's correct.
This one's still from Germany in the blue bottle, which is always a fantastic bottle. It's really great to do arts and crafts with afterwards. It's always the coveted bottles at wineries where can I get some of those to feature the blue bottles. But this is a fantastic Riesling. It's very nice.
And it really is. It's a nice mid-range. And, again, I love dry Rieslings. And this is actually about as sweet as I like to go in my Rieslings. This really pairs well with the poultry, pork, and shellfish, and certainly Asian cuisine. I love drier Rieslings as well because of the acidity level that you're seeing.
I totally agree. So do we have any questions about the St. Michael Riesling? I see a Blue Nun comment down there. No,
please don't ask me.
Right?
Yeah, please don't ask me anything about bridge because I can't remember the trumps. I prefer to stay away from that.
I would act like I do. All right, so we are going to move on to our reds.
All right, guys.
Very excited. We have a great lineup here, the reds here.
And again, we talk about what to drink in what order, and we went back and forth on our reds too. And I think we're going to do this one. We can easily switch. There's so many different theories about, which wine you do next. Is it according to the alcohol level? Is it according to the years in oak? Is it according to, I don't know. There's,
Oh, we did get a question. Are sweet Rieslings like Moscatos?
I think that it's a good, does this go here? Or back where I had it? I think the use of sweet Rieslings and in terms of Moscatos, it's a gateway wine. So people who are just discovering wines for the first time, often like to use wines that are sweet, and it helps them really, start trying wines for the first time, as opposed to sweet tea or tang or.
I agree. Yeah, no one wants that. You have to change hats.
I have to change hats. You're right. I'm not allowed to do this.
Yeah, the red won't taste the same without the red tasting hat.
Thank you.
Thank you. We got quite a few comments about that.
Oh, that's good.
Patiently.
Because I wouldn't have remembered.
No, this is actually the next wine that we are featuring here is one of my favorite new additions to the DMV portfolio.
And it's, people ask me my favorite wine. It's always like the newest wine, the one I haven't tried. And forgive me if I mispronounce it. It's Fuiza is the Fuiza, but it's Portuguese. I was calling it a wine pocus until I found out it was actually pochus. So I just want you to forgive me beforehand because I'm barely speaking American. But Fuiza is a family-run company. The vineyards were started by Joaquin, another name I hope I don't mispronounce too badly, Mascarenhas, and he's the father of the current owners. So it's over a century that he started this winery. They're known for their combining of indigenous Portuguese grapes with international varietals, but that's really not how they started. They really started as some pioneers in the Portuguese wine industry of growing French grapes. And Portugal, if you go there, you're going to find they're very, very proud of their indigenous grapes, as they well should be. And so I'm curious. I would love to hear some background. We'll have to have a guest from there at some point to find out how they were received when they really focused on French varietals and doing monovarietals. But they're known today for doing the French grapes and also doing it with the indigenous Portuguese varietals. But they're also known for something else. And my sailing friends, we are here in the Maritime Republic of Eastport, which I've said once before. And I have a lot of sailing friends here.
This was a great fun fact, by the way.
And the Joaquin Mascarenhas, who, as I said, is the father who started this, was an award-winning athlete from Portugal. So the passion that he had as much as wine is competitive sailing. He was what they call a star class sailor and one of Portugal's most awarded athletes, participating in 3 Olympic Games, starting with Berlin in 36. And I think we skipped the Olympics in 40. But in 52 in Helsinki, they actually won a medal. He was also involved with 4 World Cups and 6 European Cups, a lot of medals, lots of medals. But if you're looking for a great wine with some racing heritage on the boats, I know my sailing friends are going to be looking up this guy. You've got some racing history to enjoy this on your boat. And I know there's some people here that are planning to take us out on the boats as soon as social distancing.
There will be videos on the boats here in Annapolis eventually. I think this is a fantastic wine. It is a blend of the Touriga Nacional and the Alicante Bouschet.
We talked about Alicante Bouschet before. Mm-hmm. And it's one of my favorite grapes to talk about, along with another that we've got coming next. But Alicante Bouschet is a grape that actually has red juice. And that's what gives it this great color that you're seeing here.
We have an odd color in here.
Odd color? Can we see the color?
It's a little dark.
Color me beautiful.
Great color. If you guys have this, let us know what colors you're seeing. It's very good. So Natalie wrote in, do older vines produce a grape that makes a better wine?
I think there tends to be a richness that you'll continue to get. I think, I think if you have older vines, you tend to be very, very proud. And if it's not producing grapefruit, hey, you can always get rid of it, right?
I agree.
But yes, old vines is a nice thing. This was aged, speaking of old, all of 4 months.
In oak. Yeah.
And then another 3 months in the bottle before it was released. 90 points from Wine Enthusiast. I get lots of
from this. What are you guys tasting? I see a few of you are drinking this. I see it's someone's husband's favorite. We really liked it. Yeah.
It's not my husband.
Tanya, is that Tony over there drinking this?
My husband's not out there, right?
Maybe not yet.
Okay.
But I love the color. It's got a very dark color. It's fantastic wine. You can definitely pair this perfectly with any barbecue, like roasted pork. It really reminds me of ribs.
The name Silent Oak actually is a tribute to perhaps the most famous tree in Portugal.
The Portuguese cork tree.
The cork tree.
What does that tree produce?
It's amazing if you go to the cork forests in Portugal. It's a fantastic place to visit because you get to see the way they're stripping. You think they're stripping the bark, which would normally kill a tree, but that's not the case with the cork tree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll go into more of that sometime, how corks are made, because it's quite interesting.
Portugal is a fantastic place to visit. And again, this is a great wine for you to really explore two of the most interesting grapes, I think, in Portugal, and that is the Touriga Nacional, which is their national grape that's probably produced, they produce more hectares or acres than any other grape, and it's in all of the ports. And Alicante Bouschet, which even though it's a French hybrid, it has really produced more in Portugal and Spain than any other country, and this is a fabulous wine to try out.
I've seen a lot of positive comments coming up about the Silent Oak Reserva.
90 points from Wine Enthusiast.
Exactly. I think we'll have more by then. Like I mentioned, this would pair really well with barbecue, roasted meat, any pastas you have. It's also a light enough wine where this is probably a red that you can get your sweet wine lovers to get into reds.
Yeah, I think
it's got a little bit of acidity to it, a little bit of tannins, but they're not overbearing. It's still, like we always mention, if it's well balanced, it's just not like that mouth puckering, wine taste.
And it's also Portugal. So if you're looking for a red wine because you're a red wine lover and you want to have a wine that pairs well with seafood, grab a Portuguese wine because they drink more wine and eat more seafood per capita than perhaps any other country in the world. So,
even Annapolis here?
Well, Annapolis is a drinking community with a sailing problem.
I've heard.
So,
I think we just got a thumbs up there. 2 thumbs up. Yeah, we agree. So do we have any questions about the Silent Oak? As we mentioned earlier, please write us in questions. Like and share this with your friends. We see that this pairs well with your couch and Netflix. All 6 wines that we have featured the past 4 weeks definitely pair with Netflix at this point. All wine in general. So I will completely agree with you. I think we all need some fun and wine tastings at this point until I can get back into stores and chat with you all. This is a super fun thing to do on a Friday evening. And you get to drink wine, sample wine, and hang out with Barry. So that's always great.
We have fun.
We do have fun. All right, so we do have one more wine this evening that we are going to.
That's near and dear to my heart.
Oh, I love this. I know. It's very exciting.
This is Line and Dove, and this is Line and Dove Carmenere. I keep wanting, from the time we started deciding what wines we were going to do, I kept saying, but I want to do Line and Dove Carmenere. I want to do Line and Dove Carmenere. I want to do Line and Dove Carmenere. This was my go-to wine every time, and they kept putting me off. But this is a favorite wine of mine. Like all the Line and Dove wines, this is kosher, it is vegan, it's easy to pair with any of the foods that you may be having for dinner. And I say that because I'm actually quoting Dave from his review on this wine. But it's a Line and Dove is a wine that you can pair with foods without it overpowering it. And I think that not only applies to this specific Line and Dove wine, but all of the other Line and Dove wines as well. But this was the first of our award-winning Line and Dove wines to get reviewed in the Washington Post. And again, it's one of my favorite grapes. It's one of my favorite grapes to tell the story about.
This I can't wait for. So this grape especially, this is one of my favorite wines, especially from Line and Dove and in general, to feature during tastings because of this story.
So Carmenere is known as the lost grape. And how often do we get to taste a wine that's made of grapes that were thought to be extinct only a short 25 years ago?
Not often.
And I mean, that's part of the fun of wine, is exploring new grapes. And in this case, Carmenere is one of the allowable 6 Bordeaux grapes. It's actually known as a blending grape because you've got Cab and Merlot as your 2 dominant grapes, and then you have your 4 blending grapes of Cab Franc, you have Petit Verdot, you have Malbec.
You have your Chamberson here in Maryland that grows quite well.
Well, but that's not a
no, it's not
a Bordeaux grape.
I'm gonna throw it out there anyway.
But the 6th grape that you'll seldom ever see in a Bordeaux grape is Carmenere. Mm-hmm. But it was wiped out due to phylloxera. Again, forgive me for mispronouncing that one. But it's phyllox. Yeah, we'll just call it the phyllox. It was the outbreak in the 1860s. In fact, let's make it easier. Let's just call it the Great Wine Blight, which it is known for. But it laid waste to more than 40% of French vineyards and destroyed Carmenere almost completely. It was actually rediscovered 135 years later in Chile in 1994, masquerading as Merlot, which is ironic because it's actually most closely related to Cabernet Sauvignon, since its parental grape is Cab Franc. Today, only a few hundred acres of Carmenere are known to be in France, and that's all new. And there is rumored renewal of the interest in the Bordeaux region because it's still an allowable Bordeaux grape. But if you want the oldest grapes, and somebody was asking a question about old vines, mm-hmm. you go to Chile. And it is, however, being grown in Italy, New Zealand, Australia, as well as domestically in Washington and California. But again, you want the oldest and vines, go to Chile. This has become their grape. Mm-hmm. It's dark ruby color. If you like Cabernet Sauvignon, if you like Cab Franc, if you like a nice, rich, noble grape, this is a great one to do. This is great right now, but it can easily be cellared for 3 to 6 years and continue. It's just an outstanding wine. Thoughts?
I completely agree. Now, I've seen some comments that today is the anniversary, 1-year anniversary that DMV has sold Line and Dove. So that's definitely a cheers moment.
It is.
Way to go, DMV. I love all the Line and Dove wines. If you can find them in the stores near you, definitely please support this brand. They're amazing. If you don't have them in your favorite stores, tell them to carry Line and Dove. What are they waiting for? Now, this is what I want to add to Barry's story.
Tell me.
So I researched the Carmenere grape quite a bit because I think it's an amazing story. So I want to add this before we round up this wine today. So when they thought that it was knocked out by the phlox, I'm just going to say phlox. I have an American accent. I don't know. I saw Bryce earlier. Cheers, Bryce. But conquistadors, so it was a Spanish grape at the time, got wiped out. the conquistadors there were going down to Chile, and they were stealing from everyone down there. Just came in, big ships, everything. Basically, were pirates. And
yeah, but a shout out to my PVR folk. The vine. Going back to Craig's business.
Exactly.
Forgive me for my French guest, but I have to say the Americans saved your wine industry by sending you phylloxera resistant rootstock.
Perhaps they did.
I should bring you back on so you can tell us your version of the story. It's kind of like.
No, but the thing is, in this version, they thought that it was Merlot. This stock, Carmenere, was wiped out. They thought it was Merlot. They took it down to Chile because they really liked wine, so they wanted it to be down there when they went there. And it ended up,
but it makes sense
and it grew in Chile because Merlot grows very well in Chile. And so that's how it ended up there.
Yeah, they were growing. They were growing Bordeaux grapes, and South America has done a fantastic job with the Bordeaux grapes.
Exactly.
We're quite familiar with the Malbec success in Argentina. Petit Verdot has done phenomenal there as well. Yeah. And but
some of those grapes just grow better, but that's why they were like, we're bringing our Merlot grapes, and then they ended up not being Merlot grapes.
But Chile owns Carmenere.
Exactly. So cheers to the grape. Cheers to anyone that makes wine with it. The lost grape, fantastic. We want to hear your thoughts about the Carmenere. I featured it in quite a few of my tastings. It's always fun to tell the story. It's always a great wine to drink. It's very silky. You could pair this with just about anything. I feel like we've said that a lot this evening, but we had a really great lineup that's very well balanced. And you can pair with.
This is a $30 bottle, and when you can get it at $12, I mean, it's phenomenal.
Exactly.
It's outstanding, and you've got to take advantage of it. Carmenere, Lion and Dove. It's kosher. It's vegan. It's gluten-free. It is the four-wheel drive grape that you need to have in your home for anyone coming to visit, regardless of their dietary needs.
Cheers, Tanya. I see you, girl. Oh, cheers, Sabrina. Clink, clink. I see a lot of cheers up here. That's fantastic.
Cheers is always good.
Well, let us know if you have any questions about any of the wines that we featured this week. I had a blast. IT issues set aside. We'll figure that out for our future guests and viewers. So thanks for sticking with us.
But let us know of any questions of the wines that you've tasted, or the wines that you are tasting next week.
Well, I'm excited about next week's lineup
tell me
as
about
well.
Next week.
Oh, well, what do we have next week?
Oh, it's going to be a great list.
So we're going to post the poll once again within the Facebook event page that we have at DMV. So you can vote for your favorite wine of the week. I'm not going to tell you my favorite of the week. I will slyly maybe vote.
Oh, I'll tell you. Right
do I have to be biased? The Carmenere one?
No, I won't tell you. I'll just toast.
I feel like he just voted by raising his glass. Oh my. I'm not going to.
They were all wonderful. I love them.
I think I have a tie, honestly. I'm not going to tell. I'll tell you after we've concluded this.
You don't have to look up my vote.
Exactly. We do have the next week's lineup already posted on Facebook, so please join us again next week. Once again, the two accounts that do have this for a 6-bottle deal, which is fantastic. You can save a lot of money by just buying the 6-pack deal, and then you can join us and ask all about the wines. Remember to drink the red glass. They'll last longer than the whites and rosés that you opened.
I want to thank Bryce and Jeremy and Chris and Doug and anyone else that I missed. I missed someone? Oh, I want to thank my dad.
Thank you. Exactly. Thanks, Jess, for helping us out, IT department over there. She did a great job with all the photos, banners, everything along with us. As always, if you guys have any questions, please write us at our DMV Facebook page. If your stores throughout Maryland and DC don't yet carry our products, let them know that you want it. That way you can easily drive over to your favorite store and get yourself a great bottle of wine. Once again, definitely thank you, Bryce. We see you. It was fantastic having you. We hope that we can have all the winemakers, sales directors that we had this evening back again. I think that was a lot of fun. I think
we're bringing
great
you back in
feedback
this
already.
great state of Maryland and DC.
Exactly. And until next week, cheers. Remember, visit www.dmvdisc.com. And we do post random funny videos. You're welcome. I feel like I'm sorry sometimes. But our Wine Wednesday videos are fantastic. So like us on Instagram as well and follow us. Next week, I'll be featuring the Duck Hunter Sauvignon Blanc. And I'm a huge Sauvignon Blanc fan.
And we're bringing in a new talent by the name of Alicia next week.
Yeah, and Alicia, another sales rep along with me, wine specialist, she'll be along with me next Friday.
You will love her. I will actually offer her my hats. I don't know if she'll take me up on it or not.
That actually sounds fantastic. So Alicia, if you're still watching, you're stuck with hats. We can share them. And so once again, it was great having guests. We appreciate everyone for chiming in once again. And it was a very fun Friday.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us once again.
Cheers from DMV.
Over and out.
Alicia said she's good on the hats.